Okay, let's start our magic training with a little bit of elemental. This is the one that does AoE. And I'll just kind of go into the skill thing so we can kind of look at it again. This is the one that does AoE with more skills into it, and support is your defensive target gets more damage for 5 seconds. So hopefully that works on myself. Let's go ahead and get my points before we move on. Alright, some animations are missing, like I think there should have been a fireball there, but alright. Let's look at what we've got. Active dodge for 1. Okay, shock. 1 second cast time, 1 resource, and it does 71 magical damage. It's a single target ability. There you can see the electricity. Do you feel the electricity in the air? As you see over here, this one has combo bar points here. The melee weapons, while they also had a resource that went up to 5, that resource was a little different. It was a bar rather than combo like points here. Like you can actually tell you have 5 things here. I'm not sure why the difference in the looks, other than cosmetic. Let's go ahead and build that back up. So let's do combust. This is a 1.5 second ability, so that's 1 second there. You can see there's my cast bar. This takes 1.5 seconds. It consumes 2 of my resources, and it's a single target attack that does 208 magical damage. The resource cost is reduced by 1 if the target is hindered. So as you can see here, and this is kind of the interesting thing, is you have 5 different combo bars down here, or 5 different combo slots. So what that means is if I fill my bar up, I can only use this ability twice. What I find interesting is that when you cast, you slow down a little bit. So there's a balance here that whenever you cast, whenever you go to shoot, because you may have noticed that with the ranged abilities as well, is whenever you go to cast, whenever you go to shoot, you move a little bit slower. And I think this is to balance out so that melee characters don't just get completely wrecked by being kited. Because a lot of games like this that have ranged and melee, the ranged tend to have a slight advantage because it's kind of hard for the melee characters to get up with them. So let's go ahead and go into here. Let's look at our current passives. This is volatile current. Whenever I hit with shock, the target is also becomes afflicted. And it's a damage over time that does 10 magic damage every second for 8 seconds. So I'm doing my base damage over time, plus if I put points into this into my elemental, I'm doing AoE damage. That's pretty impressive. So, what else do we have? Mind over matter. Whenever you critically hit, the target also becomes afflicted with a damage over time that deals 8 every 5. My goodness. So, shock naturally gives them a dot, and then if I crit, it's another dot. Huh, I feel like I almost feel like a fire mage / necromancer. Or, warlock. Okay. What can I get? Rapid combustion reduces the activation time of combust by ½ a second, so that makes it a 1 second thing. That's not too bad. What's ignite? This is new. Ignite, 1 resource for each equipped weapon, single target attack. It's 51 magic damage, or 91 if you have no resource. That's interesting. And then this leads into elemental force. Whenever you attack, you build an elemental force counter. When you have 7 counters, your next attack will critically hit. Well, that's kind of cool. So let me see this counter. 2, 3, 4, and there it is, 430 critical. That's pretty cool. So, ignite, it builds a resource, so if I use it, It's got a 5-second cooldown. It'd be nice to see if there's actually fireball. I think fireballs should be flying from my hands. It's just, again, this is beta. We can't see it. It's there. So it builds a resource. It does 51 damage. So if I do it again, it actually does 208. Probably based on the equipment I'm wearing. So, what I imagine the strategy here would be, let's go ahead and use my ignites. I have no resources at this point, so I probably want to start off with ignite, shock, then burn. Then I could move on to ignite, shock, combust. And there I've got a very basic rotation, so I can cause ignite to do additional damage, then I can do my shock, because this here, it does 51. This says it does 51 on its own, whereas shock does 71. So ignite is not good unless you use it at the start. So you have to dump your combo bar. So that's kind of neat. So I've basically found a starter rotation for this magic build, which is kind of interesting. The others really don't have rotations insofar as this does. Let's see, what's next? Let's do blood magic. Oh, I wanted to point this out. Your elemental magic weapon is an iPod USB cable. What's interesting about it, though, is it's kind of twisted up to be like a little fetish, I think, like a little character, a little man. That's kind of funny, though. I like how the technology has been basically added to the magic. Alright, let's go ahead and... This is blood magic. We start off with boiling blood. It builds 1 resource for each equipped weapon, and it does 71 magic damage. You might see a theme here. It's 71 damage for each starter. So they're fairly balanced in that way. So, what do I use with my resource? Blood Spike consumes 2 blood resources, can be powered by your own health. It is a single target attack that deals 107 magical damage and causes the target to become afflicted with a damage over time effect that deals 11 magic every half a second for 8 seconds. If the target has Blood Spike damage over time, then the ability instead does 236. So, you want to get Blood Spike on the enemy and use this to do a lot of damage. So, you're basically... what you kind of want to do is you want to be able to use this twice, because then there's the Blood Spike, and if I do it again, it does even more damage. And there I'm using my health to power it. So you can use this ability even without resource. If I do, it starts draining my health. The more I use it, of course it has that... Here's what happens though. Blood Offering is a 7-second dot on myself. I cannot use Blood Spike during the Blood Offering. So probably what would be best to do is build up your combo bar and then Blood Spike and then keep Blood Spiking, because the Blood Spikes do additional damage as long as you have one up. And there you go, I've got Blood Offering, so now I can go back. It's kind of an interesting strategy. I kind of see. I'm kind of interested in that. My passives, whenever you hit with Boiling Blood, the target also becomes afflicted with damage over time. It's 3 magical for 8 seconds. It stacks up to 5 times, so there's Corrupted Blood. That's pretty cool. Unholy Knowledge increases the damage dealt by damage over time effect. So this is very much a dot school of magic here. Wait, that's Elementalism. Why am I looking at that? Oh no. Yeah, I was looking at the right passes. I was just, for some reason, highlighted under Elemental. Okay, so what do we get? Dark Potency, whenever you Whenever you apply Afflicted, you gain a single stack of the penetration rating effect, which increases penetration rating by 30 per stack for 8 seconds, up to 5 times. Wow. What about damage? Well, it looks like since this is the healing blood magic, which causes you to hurt yourself, heals. Alright, so what is this? This is Blood Shield. Let's go ahead and get it. And that leads into Rapid Shield. Increases the heal and barrier effect. So, okay. Let's go ahead and pull out of here. So now I have Blood Shield. This is one resource. It heals 32 and places an absorb barrier on the target. And it absorbs 100% of incoming damage and dissipates after absorbing 32 damage. So there you go. There's a blood barrier. Kind of interesting. Very interesting school of magic. So when it says it absorbs 100% of the damage and then dissipates after, so does that mean if an incoming hit were to do 100 damage, it would absorb that full 100 damage and then go away because it was more than 32, or would only absorb 32 and then go away and you'd have to get the rest of the damage? I wonder. It's hard to say. Well, as you can see, my trinket on this one is a book. I kind of like the stance for that too, with the red eyes, even though you can't see the red eyes very well anymore. Alright, let's go into Chaos. There we go. Chaos, kind of a shield on the back, I guess. Let's can we look at that a little more? Alright, so Chaos, much like the others, has the combo bar. So pretty much all the magic abilities have this bar that you build up on yourself. All the ranged abilities, or all the ranged pistols, shotgun, and all that, they have weapon resources that get put on the enemy. And then melee have... It looks a lot like this, except for it's just not dots, it's a single bar. So each style, magic, ranged, and melee, has its own way of doing things. So this is interesting. Even though this is a magic style, this Chaos focus, I kind of want to show it. I can't really do anything. This is a melee-based magic skill. Builds one resource and does 71. So I go in, and as you can see, it's a punch. And then it's Call for Eris. Consumes all Chaos resources. It's a burst, does 102 magic, also performs an additional hit per resource consumed. So there you go. It's a very fast attack that you want to build up your full stacks for. And this is the second ability that actually says it does something with more resources. Kind of a martial arts stance there, eh? Okay, so what do we get here? We get Entropy, which whenever I critically hit or penetrate with Hand of Change, I get an additional resource, so that'll help build my resources up faster. And Gnosis, whenever you hit a weakened target, there's a 33% chance to perform an additional hit, dealing 55 magical damage. So this is a very quick, this is kind of like the Bruce Lee style, if you will. You go in, you strike quickly, and then with full resources you strike a lot more, and your passives cause you to strike even more often than that. So let's take a look here. Paradigm Shift. Whenever you apply Weakened, you gain a single attack or a single stack of the hit rating effect, which increases hit rating. Okay, so it helps your combat. And then what's this ability we get here? Escalation. Player-based area of effect. Affects up to 5 enemies in a 5-meter area around you. Builds 1 resource for each equipped weapon. It's a frenzy ability that deals 38 magical damage. Generates a high amount of hate, so it's a tank ability. Affected targets also become weakened by a single stack of the exposed effect, which increases all damage received by 3% per stack for 10 seconds. It goes up to 10 times. So you can increase the damage the enemy takes for 30 seconds, or by 30%. That's pretty cool, especially being a tank ability. So you go in with as a tank and you make the enemy take more damage. That's the first ability that's done that I've seen. Whenever you hit a weakened target with escalation, you gain minor ward, which reduces all damage received. So this is a synergy thing here. Look at this. Escalation weakens the target, causing them to take more damage. Once you've escalated things, intensity means that whenever you use escalation again, I take less damage. So I make them take more, I make me take less. That is a fine ability. Let's just go over to... Wow, look at that. He pulls out claws and... all damage is increased for them, and for me, all damage is reduced. And it's a 7-second thing, so... every 7 seconds, I'll just pull that one out. That's kind of neat. So these magic abilities, honestly, are the ones that interest me the most, because they each seem to have rotations and ways that you can go about using them. It's kind of a shame, because what I was really thinking about doing with this character was going with sword and shotgun. But honestly, after looking at these magic abilities a bit more in depth, I couldn't say for sure what I want to do now. 2, 3, build that up, strike. That's pretty cool. That's a nice synergy effect there. So that is Chaos Form. Very neat.